So, welcome Deborah. Thanks for joining in. I'm just getting set up here. Hi Paula, how's it going? I'll just show you what I've got set up so far. Hi La Glacie and Keltcraft. Love it all, getting some people joining us. So I don't know if you're all familiar with No Days Powder Wafers, but I've been working with them for a little while here, and I needed to get some dragons cut out because I've got some ideas for some samples that I wanted to make after seeing Janine Stillman's class at the Las Vegas Glass Craft and Bead Expo this last year, just last month only. So I have some new ideas, and I've got some new samples in the kiln, and I wanted to cut some shapes, and I decided to drag out my Silhouette Cameo and the book that I totally forgot about. Like, I have a ton of these, right? The Dover books are great. I've got this particular Dover book that's all silhouette designs, so I decided, like, silhouette, not the machine, but silhouette as in an actual silhouette. So I wanted to go ahead and find a design that I thought might work really nice, and lo and behold, on the very last page I saw this really cool dragon, and my main interest with the dragon was I wanted to see how many of those fine details actually stick around. So it came with this CD, which is currently in my computer here. So I put the computer in, and I loaded the dragon design from the CD into the Dover design program that they have, and then saved it as a TIFF. I saved it initially as a JPEG, but that file size was way too small, so I saved it as a TIFF instead, or I grabbed the TIFF file and loaded it into my Silhouette Studio. So if you guys have got the Silhouette Cameo, then you know that there's the Silhouette Studio that comes with it, and this is your design program. So you can see right over here, if you can see, there's my mouse, right? Right over here is the dragon that I used. So that was the file that I loaded into the Design Studio. And then I had to tell the Cameo or the Design Studio what design lines I wanted. So I had to go over here to the cut settings and drag it around my dragon, and I ended up with these lines right here that you can see, these red lines. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit here for you. So that kind of gives you an idea. Those are the trace lines. And I'm not going to go into all those settings and let you know what that's about. I do want to show you that you can go to, there's this great website called Silhouette School Blog. Right there. She has a bunch of really great tutorials, and that's where I found the couple of tutorials that I needed to help me figure out what I needed to do over here to get my design lines, right? So now I'm getting ready to load up my silhouette, but before I do that, I have to tell it what to cut. And I need to go back over here to my cut settings, and I want to zoom out a little bit so I can get my dragons in there, and I need to tell it what I want it to cut. So let's see, cut conditions. I think first there's no cut, and then I'm going to come over here and just select this. So I'm just going to drag and drop around it. Both of my dragon designs are selected now, and then I can go over here to this menu, and I'm going to choose Cut Edge, I believe is the one I wanted to shoot. Okay, so now you can see what happened. It got a lot darker, and you can actually see all those lines now. Those cut lines look great. So now I need to go over here and mess with my settings again, and I've got a custom material type that I've set up. Custom for No Days Powder Wafers, you can see right there, right? I've got allergies big time right now, so pardon the sniffling. I've got a little hot toddy here and some water, but so I want to go and I'm going to select the No Days Powder Wafers there, and it's going to let me edit those settings now. So I've already got a few powder wafers that I have cut, so I'm just going to show you Here's one of my dragons that I cut already. Okay, so I've cut 3 of these so far. And the settings that are in there right now, I've got the ratchet set at 2, and the speed at 5, and the thickness at 25. And that cut through fine, but I think I'm going to bump this 25 up a little bit further. I think I'm going to take it up to 33 because the powder wafer material wasn't coming out as easily as I'd like it to, and I want to see if I can't get it to come out a little bit easier. But it might be that I end up switching it back again too, because the dragon design has a lot of little lacy features to it, and it is possible that while I'm pulling these out that some of those might actually pull off. So we'll see what happens. So currently I have my ratchet blade set at 2, my speed is at 5, and my thickness is at 33. So I'm going to show you what the ratchet is. So here's my Silhouette Cameo. I'm just going to open the lid here shortly. This right here is the ratchet. You can see the little red line right there marks the 2. If I needed to change that, I could just put it in here and change it to 3, 4, whatever. The lower the number is, I think the lesser the blade sticks out and cuts in. So some materials I've had to use the ratchet blade set at 3 or 4. I'm going to put that back in there and then tighten that back up. The next thing I need to do, I've got it turned on. Before I can do anything, I need to load the cut mat. All right? But before I load the cut mat, I need to actually put my stuff on it, the powder wafers, right? So I've got my No Days Powder Wafers here. Here's my cut mat, and I'm going to go ahead and take off this release liner that comes with it. So pardon me with my two-handedness. All right, so there's the sticky mat. You can see it's been used a few times, and look at that. Oh, geez. I only have 2 hands here, and no tripod for this guy. All right, see if I can get this set up. So here's the mat. Stick this tripod thingy over here so you can kind of see. All right, so here's the mat, right? You can see I've used it a couple times. It's still fairly sticky, though. I don't want the release liner on here. I'm just going to go ahead and aim for this top corner over here. And my dragons, I think, is that the right way? Let's just look at this. Inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and a little bit more than inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 inches. All right, so back to this. 7, 8 inches. Let's see how that works. Is that going to be right? Okay, that looks good. So, sticky mat has its marks. I'm going to line this up about at the corner and just press it on there. That's plenty sticky. It's not going anywhere. Now I need to load the silhouette. So I'm going to load the cut mat. I'm going to line the cut mat up over here with those 2 little arrows, stick it in there, and then press the button that says Load Cut Mat. Now it's loaded. So now I can go ahead and send this to the silhouette because I've got my cut lines. I'm going to hit this button that says Send to Silhouette, and it's going to cut. Such a funny sounding machine. So if you've just joined us right now, I am cutting dragon shapes out of the No Days Powder Wafers so that I can make some more little sample plates. I'm experimenting to see how well this design fires. I am doing a full-on powder wafer webinar this weekend if anybody wants to learn even more about activating these and see some of these samples. I've got some things to share, like the No Days Powder Wafer Mini Powder Wafer Activation Plate and general instructions from Janine Stillman. I have got my No Days Powder Wafer Journal with firing schedules and samples. I have some pieces in the kiln currently that I'm going to show off. I've got my Sizzix over here that I'll be showing how to cut with and how to use. And I've got more of my samples that you can see. I mean, there's pictures all over, but I'm going to show you exactly how to make this plate right here. So that's coming up this Saturday if you're interested. Meantime, looks like we're getting close to being finished. I don't know if you can kind of see those cut lines. They're kind of in there. Such a fun sound. It reminds me of a sci-fi show from the 70s. Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. Ta-da! So, it has finished my design. I go over here, and I hit the button that says unload the mat. It has unloaded the mat. Now I can take the mat and start to pull off the powder wafer material. So I'm going to go ahead and just close that lid for now. See if I can't set this up so you guys can see this. Let's see. Ooh, a face dive. I don't know if that's going to work or not. I don't know. I'm using my iPad and I don't know how well this tripod thingy works here. Let's see. That might kind of work. Okay, so the bundle, the design bundle that I got came with this little like silhouette pick-me-up tool. Pick-me-up. It kind of helps you to go in there and kind of poke out some of the lines. Okay. So, as I peel this back, some of the wafer might actually stick to the mat. We will see. Oh, it's kind of peeling. Okay, good. It's coming off. I don't mind so much that it's not sticking to the mat because if it does, that gives it a chance to tear. I'd kind of prefer that it all came off together because it's such a delicate design. So if I can kind of just wiggle it around and get it to come off all together. There we go. These settings look much better because it looks like it's going to come off pretty easily. So I'm just going to go ahead and cover my sticky surface again. Oh, I have like a little paper and stuff all over it, but if you can keep it fairly sticky, then you don't have to worry about it grabbing onto your powder wafer material. It holds really well. So now let's see what you guys see here. So here's the tail, right? Little tail there. So it's coming out pretty easily. So I've got a little notebook where I started. Little thing, note card. So you know how you guys have your firing schedules all together? Well, I've got my powder wafer cut settings for the silhouette. So now I can make my notes. Like the first time I did it, I used an old blade. The ratchet's at 2, the speed 5, depth of 18, not quite separated. So I ran it again with the thickness of 25. Now I can write that. It was good, but still not quite. So I'll make another note that says, ran it with the thickness of 33 this time, and that seems to be really good for this particular design. It seems to be pulling out pretty easily, like that. I can go in here and kind of help poke it out when I need to. But there you have it. That is using the silhouette to cut out some powder wafer sheets. You guys are so quiet. No questions or anything. It's all right. I'd like to think because I'm so thorough is why, right? At least I hope my volume's on. Is my volume on? And I can go ahead and just pokey poke. And this takes a little while, but not nearly as long as hand cutting this dragon design would take. Hey, good. I'm glad you found me. I'm going to try something new. I decided that I should get some periscopes going just so when I'm playing in the studio I can have some company, for one.
but that you guys can kind of benefit from what I'm doing. We're going to be starting a bunch of new webinar series with the No Days adhesives, but some of this stuff, it's not really a class, it's just you watching me work, and some people learn great like that. Some people need a little bit of extra hand-holding. Some people want a little bit more information. When I'm working in the studio, it won't be a whole full-on, like, this is how you do this is how you do this. It's going to be, you know, this is how I do this, and this is where you can find more information to figure this out. And if you need me to help you figure it out, then you know, I've got this other webinar that you can sign up for. And I don't know, I'm about halfway done with that little dragon guy, but I can do that later because I can just show you. This is my dragon that I've got going on. So I'm going to take this dragon. I've got a whole list. Where is it? I have a whole list of my samples that I want to do. So my samples, 2 layers and 1 layer, KLB and papyrus, over, under, stacked. 2 layers, 1 layer, dragon to show shrinkage, direct under, on top, letters under, flip fire. So this is how I make all my notes. Don't worry if that doesn't make any sense to you. It makes perfect sense to me, and then I get to show you exactly the outcome here eventually. I'll post some pictures. I don't know if you guys know about the group on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, the group No Days Fused Glass is a really good group to go to if you've got any powder wafer projects that you're wanting to share or have questions about. That's a great place to get help from your peers who are also working with them. Kind of think that's everything. I got to go into the studio tonight. I've got some classes to teach, and I need to get in there a little bit early because I have some people picking up some pendants from some beginning classes that they did. I got to finish my hot toddy and make sure my cat's not getting all choked up on her cord outside and chasing birds. So thanks for joining me. Keep an eye out for No Days adhesives on Periscope. I'll be posting some videos here and again, and then I'm trying this new thing. That's right. I'm going to try and upload these to YouTube if I get a chance. I've got a couple of options, I think, for doing it. I Googled the stuff and found some options, so I'm going to see what happens. And you may see this on YouTube. You may not. So go ahead and share this with your friends if you think it was valuable. Let them come on over and see how to cut with the Silhouette. I know a lot of people are trying to figure out these cutting machines and if they want this specific cutting machine or if they want to pick up this cutting machine. But the reason I like the Silhouette Cameo is exactly because I can take my own designs or my Dover editor designs. I don't have to go into the store and buy each pattern that I want and then make sure it's available for commercial use, etc., etc. I can just snag something real quick out of one of my Dover books, or I can actually go into Photoshop and design something to cut, which is really great. So all of the fonts that I've already got on my computer, I can come in and I can write with those over here. So for example, let's see, I'm going to go over here to this one and just, wait, is that the right one? See, that's dragons. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this guy because that was not the one I wanted. No, I don't know what that was. And I'm going to go over here to, text. So I can go, and then I've got this whole pop-up menu where I can actually add text. So I can go in here, I can change the sizing, and then I could write whatever it was that I want to create. Whoops. Right, so I could take that and go ahead and select that, and then go over to my cut settings and tell it, cut that, and then all of a sudden I can cut that on my powder wafers. It's pretty simple. Once you figure out this design studio, that's the hardest part of the Silhouette, I think. But there are a couple of craftsy classes. I've definitely got some advice for you if you're thinking about taking a craftsy class. So just check me out on No Days Fused Glass, I guess, and ask. Because there's one craftsy class that I wasn't thrilled about, but the second one that I'm taking, I haven't finished it, and I'm only into like the second lesson out of 7 or 8, and I've already gotten so much more information and kind of the information I really want to get. So thanks again for joining me, and I will see you out in Facebook land or YouTube land or draw something. Yes, yeah, you can. They actually have a software. You can actually take pictures with your phone, too. There's a special mat that they have called the Scan Pick mat, or I don't know, something like that. I haven't explored it yet. But you could totally sketch something and scan it in, or use your phone as the scanner. And then you put it on this mat, and it reads the registration marks and cuts how you want it to somehow. Not real familiar. Again, the Silhouette School studio blog. Where is that? Let me see. This, really good blog, Silhouette School. She's got tons of information there. And Craftsy has some classes too. Craftsy. Show you, let's see, my Craftsy, my classes. The class that I'm looking at right now is Next Steps in Silhouette Studio. I would ignore the Silhouette Savvy. I think that's more for scrapbooking and really, really basic information. But this Next Steps in Silhouette Studio is a really good one.
Go ahead and choose your top portion of your tag.
And the nice part is, down here, this is the lesson that I was doing, so I can go over here and say, okay, well, lesson 2 is using patterns and fills for tracing. And I've made notes here where, like, okay, so that's, I guess, wait, those are her notes. Are those her notes? Tracing files. Okay. And then I've actually added notes down here, so I can go right here, because when I need to figure out how to create trace lines, I can just go directly to the spot where I need to, and then she's telling me.
The top option here is select trace area. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit on our project here.
Right? So she's actually helped quite a bit. So I've made my little notes here so I can say, okay, this is where I need to adjust the trace settings. So she's telling me what this window is about. And then over here I made another note, trace method options. So figuring out that whole tracing in the first part, in the first place, is kind of confusing. But once you get that, then it's really much easier. So those are the two places I'd go to look for information, Craftsy and Silhouette School. And Craftsy, again, what class is this? Silhouette, not Silhouette Savvy. Silhouette. Next Steps in Silhouette Studio. That's a good one. I think it was $20. And I think you always have access to it. I don't think it disappears. So, kind of handy. All right. So, thanks again for joining me, and I really am going to go this time. All right.